Okay, so it's 4:05. I'm sure that just like last week, some people will join in somewhere through the session that we already have somebody logging in. We're just going to get started. Would be good for me to know who of you is working from the office right now and who is at home. Working from home. How about the rest? Also home. Seems like there's many working from home. Do you like working at home or do you prefer working at the office? Rather work from home? So I personally, I hear a lot of people actually saying that they miss working at the office after working home for a long time, and they would like to be able to go back and see. Oh yeah, see, it's stressful to sit at home working. So I guess it's very 50-50. Some people really like it working from home, and some people miss being around colleagues and maybe having a nice chair or desk to work on. For some people, it's a bit more difficult to concentrate from home. I can fully understand. Okay, so welcome to today's session. I'm going to ask you to participate with today's session. First thing that I want to know from you is, how was your week? Can you tell me the amount of kilometers that you've been able to run this week? And you can just type that in the chat box below. One 1.5, and then I would assume you're trying to run the 5K. Running the 5K. How about the rest? How much have you been able to run this week? Start over, meaning start from the beginning. 2 kilometers this week for walking and jogging. Excellent work. If it's been difficult for you to stick to the amount of running that you wanted to do, don't worry. We have something this week in the presentation called a power statement, meaning that we're going to type what it is that you are planning to do this week. So for me, I'm planning to run 15 kilometers total. So at the end of the session, I'll demonstrate how we're going to do that. So I'm just going to type and make a statement here. The coming week, I'm going to run 15 kilometers total. I'm going to ask all of you to do the same. And then next week, we can actually see if you've been able to complete the goal that you've set for yourself. So keep that in the back of your mind for now, and we'll just start with the rest of the session. And then at the last part, we'll make these power statements together. At the start, I want to say that we're actually doing really well. As you can see, we've done more than 170 kilometers as a club. This is all in the Strava app. So if you're not in that group yet, I would highly recommend you still do it. because it's just really fun to see how much we're actually doing as a group. I think there's 55 runners in this actual group. The app is for free to download. But you can imagine if everybody would register, oh, we would have maybe 3 times or as much or even more. So I will remind everybody in the Telegram group where you can get the app and how you can download it and how you can get into this group. But thank you for participating, everybody. And if you haven't done that yet, make sure that you try to do that this weekend. Runner of the week, we have the same runner of the week since as last time, because I thought maybe we would have some more people during this session that we can share his secret to success with. For next week, I would like to highlight another runner. If you have somebody in mind that you feel like, oh, this person has been running a lot, or maybe he's been running through the rain like a superhero, let me know and I can reach out and ask this person for their secret to success. And if it's you, feel free to reach out to me as well. Last week, we went over recovery. What can you do to recover from running? And I just wanted to touch up on that for a quick moment and give you 5 quick tips that are important to keep in mind. One is, don't run through pain. If you feel any pain in the knees or ankles or hips or even your lower back, this is valuable information from your body. So try not to ignore it and think I have to run through it, because normally it's better to listen to it, slow down, maybe walk a little bit, or just finish for today and then let your body recover so that next time you can run comfortably. If you look at the time that we have, 8 weeks still to actually do the run, it's better to take it slowly and not risk any injury, because once you're injured, you cannot run at all. 2 is the 2% loss. Many people don't know this, but if you lose more than 2% of your water level in your body, you can already notice decrease in your performance. And 2% happens very fast. You could be that you're sitting in the aircon all day, or when you're going from one place to another and you might be sweating. Very easy. So make sure that you drink enough water throughout the day. Number 3 is strength training. We often don't think about it, but it's important to make sure that our legs, ankles, knees, and hips, and even the upper body and the core, the stomach muscles and the back muscles are strong. It will help you to run faster. It will help you to avoid injuries as well. If you're very unfamiliar, you don't know how to start, don't worry. We have an app called PhysiTrack. That means that we can just send programs straight to your phone, and you'll have a program to help to build balance, to help you to build more flexibility, and help you to build strength. And you'll get video showing exactly what you need to do. And that's planned for the coming week. So you'll hear a little bit more about that in the coming week in the Telegram group. Number 4 is self-massage. I'm going to explain that a little bit more, and I have a little gift for everybody here as well. And then number 5, check your movement. Sometimes we don't know that the ankles are stiff, or maybe the knees are a little bit unsteady. They shake when we run and when we land, or maybe our technique is not so good and we have a lot of impact that kind of hurts the back. It's important to know these things, and there's ways to test it for yourself. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later as well. So last time we talked a little bit about here to show you what happened to the video. But if you've ever been to a massage place, I'm seeing the connection is a bit unstable. If I am not coming a massage, you know that it can be very relaxing, and it can also be very relaxing for the brain. Now, these days it's difficult to picture here is to illustrate that sometimes it is the muscle causes pain in the joint of the body. How therapist would do that for you. We created a book, an ebook about this, explaining exactly what you should be doing to give yourself some relief for the various parts of your body. So on the left, you can use a tennis ball, or we like to use a lacrosse ball. That's a hard rubber ball. They have them at the you can expect to get from that. Now, if you're listening right now, should be able to send you a link right now. So if you would like me to send you that book, please give me a I just sent a link into the chat box. If you want to have the book, you can just simply click on the link. It will take you to a Google Drive document, and you can just request access. After we finish this session, I will take a look at that and make sure that I give you access. You're very welcome. I hope it's useful to you. Now, the book mostly focuses on a foam roll technique. So foam roll is like a cylinder with a foamy layer on the outside. Also available at the Decathlon and probably also on Wing Mall. See if you can find it there. But if you don't have this, you can also use a water bottle. So something as simple as this. I like to have it either completely full because then it's not so cushiony, or even freeze it. Put it in the freezer if you have one, and then it will be nice and strong, give you good resistance. And it can also be quite refreshing to have that, especially after a run. Give yourself a little ice massage. There's also a list that I've made on the YouTube channel that I have, which also has videos. So aside of the book, there will also be videos explaining you how can you self-massage the foot, how can you do it for the thighs, how can you do it for the IT band that's outside of the leg, for the lower leg, the calves. And there will be some additional videos there as well, such as how can you test how your heart is doing, how your lungs are doing, how can you train on heart rate, which is what we're talking about today. I will be adding videos to this list constantly. So let me just send you a link here as well. So the other link to the YouTube channel with all the videos for Wing is now in the chat box. If you like the type of videos we do, I try to upload at least once a week. There's a couple of interesting videos there, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to get our updates. Okay, so I hope you're paying attention because today we will be talking about heart rate and why it's important to know what is your heart rate and how can you measure your heart rate and what kind of heart rate should you be training on. Now, let's see if everybody's here and paying attention. I have a question for you. Why is it important that you know what your heart rate is when you're working out? Please let me know in the chat box. speed. So if you're running for time, you're trying to increase your finish time. This is an important one for you. Hard is 80 to 90. Also increases the maximum performance capacity. In other words, how long can you exercise on a higher level of intensity? 70 to 80% is moderate. This is the level that you can expect the most benefits for your overall health and fitness without the downsides. And by downsides, I mean, if you work on a very high intensity, there's a higher risk of injury. Light, 60 to 70, does improve your endurance and is really good for fat burning. So if you're interested in losing weight, this is the one that you want to look at potentially. And at very light, if you're doing a brisk walk, for example, 50 to 60%, still improves overall health and helps with recovery. So brings us back to the recovery strategies. If you have some discomfort or some pain, you might want to switch back to a more light version. Okay, so who here wants to learn how to measure heart rate? If you want to learn, please let me know in the chat box. That chart is indeed about heart rate. So this video right here is on that list, it's on the channel, and we're going to learn right now how you can measure your heart rate. So what we're going to do is the following. If you can see me, there are two big arteries on the side of the neck. So if I bend my head to the side, you can see a muscle here. I'm going to be slightly in front of it and lightly place my fingers on that part of the skin. You should be able, this side is better for me. You should be able to feel your heart rate. Oh, you cannot see me? Wait a second. Okay, can you see me now? I forgot I was sharing screen. So let's say the muscle that I'm looking for, this is the muscle that I'm looking for, and the artery is slightly in front of that. So let me show you from the side. If you put your fingers on that area lightly, you should be able to start feeling, of course, depending on how quick your heart is beating, right? Give that a try. And if you can feel a pulse, let me know by just saying yes or yes, I can feel it in the chat box. So I know that everybody can feel it. If you can't, there's another option to do it on the wrist. Oh, let's see if I can show you here. A little bit difficult this. But on the side of the wrist, you can also feel it. Maybe sometimes you see it in movies, they grab the wrist and they try to feel it from the wrist. Okay, so you're going to need a timer for this. So what I like to do is I like to grab my same problem here, stopwatch or timer from my phone. And what we're going to do is count the amount of beats that you're feeling for 10 seconds. So example, where is it? Here it is. I'm going to start the timer for 10 seconds and I'm going to count how many pulses I'm feeling. Here we go. So I got 12 beats in these 10 seconds. And what we want to know is we want to know the beats per minute, because that's how we measure heart rate. So I just had 12 beats in 10 seconds. Oops. The only thing that I need to do is multiply by 6. 6 times 10 beats. My heart rate is 72. So 72 is a normal resting heart rate to have. When you're going to actually be running, of course, this will be very different, right? So if we take a look at the chart that we just had, I'll pull it up in a moment, but let's see if you can do the same thing. So I'll give everybody a second, pull up your phone or your watch or whatever you're using, find the pulse, and for 10 seconds long, count the beats, multiply by 6. So I'll remind you again, I had 12 times 6, 72 would be my heart rate. Once you've found your heart rate for right now, put it in the chat box. So 13 beats times 6, 78 would be your heart rate. Let me just go back here for a moment in the slide. So that you can see how that what that means for when you are actually exercising. So once you're exercising, everything changes. You want your heart rate to operate at a higher maximum heart rate. This is important to know. Maximum heart rate is 220 minus your age. This is a formula that we use in sports science to determine what the maximum intensity is that you should be exercising on. So in my case, I'm 34, 220 minus 34 is 186, right? Math is not my strongest subject. So if you catch me making a mistake, don't be shy to point it out. The max heart rate, maximum heart rate, means that you should not go higher intensity than that particular number because it can be dangerous for the heart. So now that we know our maximum heart rate, now I can start to see, okay, where do I need to be if I want to burn fat? I need to have 60 to 70% of that 18.6. So what I'm going to do, and don't worry, I'm going to give you these calculations again later on, is I'm going to take 186, multiply that so that I get the 60% percentage. So if I want to be on 60%, I need to be at around 111. If you want me to help you calculate your heart rate, now is the time. So first, let me know what is your max heart rate, meaning what is 220 minus your age. Meantime, as I'm waiting for some of the reactions in the chat box, just to give you an idea of what the video would be looking like if you want to watch this later on for people that cannot make it. So maximum heart rate is 187, right? So very close to mine, actually. That means that if you are trying to be in a fat burning rate, for example, you need to be at around 111 or slightly up. If you're looking to go for performance, you need to be a lot higher. So you need to take that 1.87 and multiply by 80. If you need help with this later on, please let me know. There's a couple of easy, how do you call that? programs on the internet where you can just put in your goal and your age and it will automatically calculate. But I think it's very useful to know how you can do this yourself. Okay, for later on, you can watch this video if you want. Next up, because I have an eye on the time, I know everybody here is busy as well. Next up, the homework for the coming week. So before we go into the power statements and everything like that, I wanted to tell you what is on the menu for this coming week. For the 5K runners, your goal for this week is do a total of 6 kilometers. If you're running 3 times per week, which is what I advise, you would be running 2 kilometers on the first run, 2 kilometers on the second run, and 2 kilometers on the third run. For the 10K runners, we're doing a total distance of 12 kilometers this week, and that means you'll be doing 4, 4, and 4. The 20K runners are doing 14 kilometers of distance, 6, 4, and 4. That's for the coming week, but we have some special options. So first off, on your next run, I want you to practice using that heart rate trick that we just learned. So what you're going to do is before you start running, you're going to check your heart rate. It should be at resting. So it should be comparable to what it is now, maybe about 60 or 70 or 80. Then you're going to run or do your warm up for 5 minutes. After, I want you to check again. And your heart rate should be a little bit higher, maybe at around 90 or 100 or 110, depending on how quick you go. Then the third point is halfway through your run. So if you're doing 2 kilometers, at 1 kilometer in, you're going to stop and check your heart rate again. And then at the end of the run. And this should give you a pretty good example of how heavy this activity really is, because sometimes it seems really heavy and the brain wants to stop, but the body is still fine. The heart rate is a more reliable way to know how intense you're actually exercising. Here, once again, the calculation to use. First off, 220 minus age is your maximum heart rate. In my case, I'm 34 years old, 220 minus 34 is 186. Then afterwards, you take 60 or 80%, depending on what kind of goal you have, which means in my case, I need to be between 111 and 148. If you have any questions about it, don't worry. We'll have a little bit of time after this. Another bonus for the coming week is there's an additional option to take one run out and exchange it for another activity. One would be a beep test. We talked about this in the first session, meaning you test your own physical level, your physical fitness. And you can do this by treadmill or by putting 2 cones on 20-meter distance and follow the app that I sent before. I will remind everybody again and run from one cone to the other and see how long you can last. The second challenge or the second option is a 1 kilometer for time challenge, especially if you're trying to improve your time on the actual run. This is a very important one. What you're going to do is you're going to warm up and then you're going to run 1 kilometer as fast as possible. Now, for those that are familiar around the monument, the Independence Monument, that's about 1 kilometer, if I'm correct. So it will be an interesting challenge to see how fast can you go around the monument. That is your baseline. It gives us a very good idea of how fast you can run for a certain set of time. The third option is self-massage. So one of the runs, you change to self-massage. Get the bottle frozen, get a tennis ball or get a lacrosse ball or get a foam roller from Decathlon and give yourself a massage instead of a run. I sent the link to the book. I'll send it in the Telegram app later as well for the ones that missed it. This brings us to an interesting part of today's session because I would like you to make a statement for the coming week. Sometimes we want to run, we want to get started, but things just happen and we find at the end of the week, we didn't do as much as we wanted to do. It's all a little bit easier if you plan ahead and you actually make it real. So I'm going to ask you to make a power statement right now in the chat box, meaning you will state, this week, I will run this many times and I will cover this many kilometers total distance. As a bonus, I will practice the beep test, 1 kilometer run, or self massage. So I will go first. I will type it in the chat box. And in the meantime, I will ask you to do the same thing. This week, I will run 3 times and cover 15 kilometers total distance. I will also practice self-massage. Okay, how about you? Let me know in the chat box. What is your statement? This week, I will run 3 times and cover 9 kilometers total distance. And yes, massage may be needed. Massage is always needed when you ask me, but yeah, sure. This week, I will run 2 times and cover at least 2 kilometers total distance. I will also practice self-massage. Great. Also, it's really good to post that here in the chat box, but make sure you also copy and paste it into the Telegram group. Very good to have these things in the background. This week, I'll run 2 times and cover 4 kilometers total distance. I will also practice beep tests. Great. Please show me the link. I will do that. It will be good for me to know if you're doing it inside or outside, meaning on a treadmill or outside with cones. Both are fine, by the way. And if many people want to do the beep test, I'm more than happy to set something up. I will choose a little location somewhere and we can do the beep test over there. We'll have to, of course, have small groups, but I'm sure we can get that done. Oh, what's this? Okay, so once again, don't forget to put this into the Telegram group as well, so that you can have your statement there. And then brings us to the last part of today's session, which is the Q&A. If you have questions, you can let me know. And I mentioned that there was going to be a prize this week and a prize winner. And I have an announcement for the prize winner. Let's see, this week I'll run 3 times and cover 10 kilometers. Awesome. All right, that's really great. Thank you for putting the statements there. Now, of course, your challenge to actually make it happen. The prize winner for this week is Mr. Soknal. I don't think he's here with us today, so I have to reach out to him personally or do it through somebody else in the organization. The prize will be a private session. So as some of you might know, some of you don't know, we run a personal training and a physiotherapy business here in Phnom Penh, close to Tuol Sleng. I'm going to actually give away a session where somebody can come in, have a test done, get in on a scale that we have, learn what is their weight, what is their muscle mass, what is their fat percentage, what is their BMI, what is their metabolic rate, what is their hydration level. And then afterwards, we're going to test him and assess him and let him know what his levels of fitness is and what is the best way for him or her to improve it. This week, it's going to be Mr. Soknal. And don't worry if you're seeing this for the first time and you didn't get to join in, there will be more competitions with prizes to win just like this. So that brings me to the end of this session and what I wanted to share with you today. We have a little bit of time left So I'm going to ask you, is there any questions that you have? If so, let me know in the chat box below. I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes for this. And if there are no questions, that is fine as well. If there are questions, I'll be happy to answer them. So the way to win the prize depends on the competition. So let me look back what we have initially. For the last one, I put a certificate of completion in the Telegram. The question was to share the certificate with the hashtag #RunWithWing, and to then notify me that you want to be eligible to win. So the people that wanted to be in shared it, reached out to me, and let me know that they have competed, and then I chose one winner from that group. Yes, any social media would work, but for this one is already done, of course. But I have one planned for coming week, so don't worry. Keep an eye on the group, and this time I'll make sure I'll pin the message at the top as well, because I know not everybody saw this particular message. So that's on me. I'll make sure that this prize is just as good or even better. I hope that answers your question. And are there any other questions? Yeah, so the mechanics of the competition, this was yeah, there will be a different a different procedure for next prize. I'll make sure that I talk to the organization within Wing, so that this also goes out to the internal communication as well, because now I feel like too many people actually missed this one, so it wasn't entirely fair. So that's my fault, and I'll make sure that I organize that better next time.
I have another suggestion.
Yes.
I think your schedule here, I think when you don't book it into the Wing email, I don't think people can join much. You know, sometimes they are booked already, so
yeah,
they are not aware of the meeting.
Yeah, I agree, and I saw, of course, last week we had a lower turnout. This week we have pretty low turnout compared to the first week. I'll make sure I will communicate back to the organization and see if there's anything we need to do. Maybe we need to change the time, for example, make it a time where everybody is a little bit easier to join, whether it's a weekend or whether it's an evening, or maybe it's early morning. I will be fairly flexible in adapting. So I'll make sure that I communicate that back and see if we can get some more traction.
Yes. You can talk to HR. Yeah.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you, though. Okay, so I hope this type of information is helpful for you. If you have something that you want to know more about, please let me know in the Telegram group, or just reach out to me directly. We have topics coming up about nutrition. So what should you eat in and around the workout? How can you run faster? I'm going to explain what kind of exercises you can do to strengthen your legs or to strengthen your core, etc. We'll send a program with the PhysiTrack app that I talked about before that is planned for next week. If there is a certain topic that you really want me to tell you more about, please let me know, and I'll try to book that in. And with that being said, I hope that everybody has a great weekend and a great Chumben. If you're going somewhere, please be safe and have a good time. And I'll be here again next week, 4 p.m. if we don't decide to go for another day. So thank you for joining. Yes. And see you next week.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Yes.